Ready? Okay, we are back with part 2. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, my interview with my wonderful husband asking him all these questions that you ladies have given me on Instagram, then go and watch that video first, and I'll link it down in the description box. So this is my husband Danny, and we are asking your questions to him today. So on the last video, we had a question sent in that said, what communicates disrespect to a man? So we thought we should answer also what communicates respect to a man, because that's very important. So would you like to answer the question?
What communicates respect to a man? From my personal experience, when your wife communicates trust to you in any area, that communicates respect. Whether it's in finances, where the guy can feel that his wife trusts him to provide, to make the right financial decisions. Any area where the guy feels like he's had trust placed in him, I think makes him feel respected.
That makes sense.
Another area I think a guy feels respected is when the wife communicates her needs to her husband. So, for instance, Sarah's a quality time person, and sometimes she can get a little out of sorts if she hasn't spent quality time with her spouse for a while.
Had an explosion last night.
So, she fortunately is very good about telling me most of the time if it's been too long since we've had a date, or if we just need to take some time and have some time alone, or go get coffee, or take a drive.
Go on a drive. Yeah.
And that's huge to me, when she communicates her needs instead of just assuming I know what's wrong. Because trust me, guys, don't know what's wrong. We don't all have the same needs, and so it's really difficult to guess unless there's just clear communication of, hey, I feel like we haven't spent a lot of time together. It'd be really nice if we could go on a date. And that communicates a huge amount of trust in me when it's put in a respectful manner and loving manner, where she's just telling me, hey, this is something I need. And that's something that makes it really easy for me to pay attention to.
We could probably do like a whole video on how to communicate your needs.
Probably.
Because it's something we're trying to learn too.
A third way I feel respected is when Sarah expresses appreciation. She's very good at it, just telling me when she appreciates something I've done, or me going to work when I'm supposed to go to work, and just different random stuff she appreciates about me. I definitely find that encouraging for sure, and I feel respected by it.
It's pretty easy. So the next question is, what are things wives can do to encourage their husbands to take the lead?
I think a lot of marriages have trouble with this because some wives can be so bossy. Sarah's not, but I've seen it in a lot of other marriages. It seems especially older marriages, where the people are old and the wife is just in charge, and the guy just feels like a doormat, or that's what it looks like looking at him from the outside. I'm sure years ago at the start of their marriage, she was just so controlling that he just took a step back to avoid the conflict because it wasn't worth it. So I think the way women can help guys lead is by taking a step back and letting them. I think it's sometimes as simple as that.
Like trusting them enough to let them make a mistake.
Yes. I think trusting them makes them also feel where they have to make good decisions, because the buck stops back at me.
Yeah.
So I think with financial decisions, if you trust me to make good financial decisions, that encourages me to make good financial decisions, because I know it's going to be my fault if I mess up. I think anytime a husband feels like they're being treated as like maybe one of their wife's kids, it makes them not want to take any responsibility for any leadership in the family at all.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And I think that happens in a lot of marriages, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think it also goes back to the respect question. Also makes guys feel pretty disrespected, and if you don't feel like you're being respected as somebody who's supposed to take the lead, you're not going to do it. Oh yeah, one more thing. I think when a wife tries to become their husband's conscience, or if you're a Christian, like us, you could say your husband's Holy Spirit, where they're always telling him what's right and what's wrong, or like you should be doing this or you shouldn't be doing this. That's going to make the guy not want to take the lead and not be responsible for his own decisions and such, because the wife is controlling those. I think another thing that has helped me to take the lead in certain areas is defining spheres of influence. So obviously, as a married couple, everything should be a joint decision, but I think it works best when we take leadership positions in somewhat different areas. If the guy or the gal, I think, controls every decision for the whole family all the time, I think it's a controlling, unhealthy situation. For us, I think we've come to the place where we tend to make leadership decisions in different areas of our family, and that accomplishes a couple things. It makes it where we're not overwhelmed, where I don't have to focus on finances and income and on running the house smoothly, figuring out what kind of clothes Carrie's going to wear.
Yeah. The groceries, the meals.
Yeah, or making decisions as far as, what are we going to eat this week, or all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So we've started to make decisions kind of in our own areas. We do the same things on projects somewhat. So I'll make decisions on projects I'm doing. We'll try to kind of divide and conquer, and then she'll figure out how she's going to do the project she's doing. That works much better than me trying to control every decision or her trying to control every decision, which can be very counterproductive.
That doesn't work well with us.
So
yes.
I think dividing and conquering when it comes to family leadership is also a good way to keep both spouses leading in areas that they should be.
Mm-hmm. Like I make a lot of the decisions concerning probably like the house, how to run it, how to manage it, the meals, that type of stuff. Some stuff with Carrie, and Danny makes a lot of the decisions with the remodel and stuff because it's not my area of expertise anyway.
Right.
And then if it's a big decision, we'll just talk about it.
Right. Yeah. If it's a big financial decision or a big if we're gonna try to buy a piece of property or move or buy a vehicle or anything like that, then neither of us will make a decision without talking to the other one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the next one is, what qualities should a young woman look for in a godly husband?
Qualities young ladies should look for in a godly husband. I could list off a whole list of character traits, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. Obviously, integrity. I think one of the best things that someone looking to get married can do, whether they're a man or a woman. If you're a woman, I think you should look at how the man treats his mom. If you're a man, I think you should look at how the woman treats her dad. And that's how they're going to treat you. I think it's not true 100% of the time, but I think it's very accurate. If a young man treats his mom with love and listens to her and treats her with respect and love, that's how he's going to treat you. Another thing you can look for in a young man is, I think, who he hangs out with. Look at his friends. That's the kind of people he enjoys being around. Look at the kind of music he listens to, the kind of movies he watches. That's going to tell you a lot about his purity life, how he speaks. Yeah. I think what you're looking for when you're dating is you're trying to find out what kind of person you're really getting married to. I think the last thing I want to say about a woman looking for a juicy, hot young man is look for somebody who wants to take responsibility. Somebody who's ready to hold down a job, take care of your family, just be responsible in all areas of life. There's this good quote I wrote down about responsibility. It's the refusal to drift or to delay or to pass the buck. And that's a really good definition of what a responsible man would look like.
What is it like for them in those newborn days? Due with our third any day now.
Oh, the newborn days.
Hey, it was pretty easy. You had it pretty easy. You just worked on house
I had
projects.
it ridiculously easy. Oh yeah, so I should tell the house.
Should we just tell our story about how our newborn days went?
Alright, how were the days right after we had a newborn? I'll just tell you about mine, because I've only had one child, and to be honest with you, it was pretty easy. Sarah spoiled me. I kind of worked on house projects. I had a little time off work to take care of the baby. So, yeah, I kind of worked on house projects. I think I did some cooking, and
Yeah, he cooked all the
Sarah
food.
was
Took care of
resting
everything.
for a couple weeks, I think,
Yeah.
healing up. But no, it's pretty easy. The baby slept a lot.
Yeah, we'll see how it is like the 5th kid down the road, and we'll remake this question.
Yes. I don't think the experience I had with it would speak to a lot of people's experiences, because we had a pretty easy baby at that stage, and I had a pretty easy wife, so easy wife, easy life.
Okay, so the next question is, that applies to husbands as well. How do you deal with stress of being the sole provider?
I think you deal with it like you deal with any other kind of stress in your life. Preferably either going dirt biking to get all your anger out, or going shooting to get all your frustration out, or eating. In all seriousness, this is one area it's really good idea to set yourself up for success before you get married.
Or at least before you have kids.
I don't think I have a ton of experience that I can really answer this question from. We don't have a lot of money, but we've never been like strapped for cash where we don't know where our next paycheck's coming from. I went through 6 years of preparation and training before I got this job that I'm in now, and now I've been in this ever since we got married, and so I've never had a ton of stress just from like, are we gonna have enough money for rent or enough money for food or diapers, which is a huge blessing.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not married, set yourself up for success. Don't go into a ton of debt before you get married. Make good financial decisions. Find a steady job. Then get married. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where it is stressful, being the sole provider, I think you should sit down with your spouse and write out goals to bring yourself to a place where it's not going to be super, super stressful, knowing where your next paycheck's going to come from. I think that's a fairly high priority because money is one of the biggest things that tears couples apart.
Yeah.
That tears families apart. So yeah, figure out a way to get to where you want to be, and then make that a priority.
Mm-hmm. And depending on what you and your spouse's goals are as far as like homemaking and stuff, before we had Carrie, I worked, and I definitely didn't make as much money as Danny, but it's a couple extra $1,000 every in a month. That can help a lot if you don't have kids yet.
Yeah,
If
maybe.
you need to.
Maybe both of you will have to work to meet that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, especially if you don't have kids. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Save that money up for when you do have kids, because you're going to need it.
Put it on a down payment on a house. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Type of questions to ask a man about his financial or career direction.
Well, the first thing you should ask a guy before you get married to him is, how much money does he make? That's the most important thing, obviously, in any marriage, is how much money the guy makes. And that's about it.
I feel like how much money the guy has. we might have not worked out.
I think there's 3 things you can look at in a guy to see if he's going to be a responsible provider or not. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, you need to have somebody that's not relying upon you all the time for extra income. So I think you look at their work history. Do they tell you that they've had 10 jobs in the last 5 years, or they're always switching? Ask them if they have any definable career goals. You don't have to phrase it exactly like that, but see what their long-term career goals are. Are they working towards a stable income? They don't have to have one right now, but are they working toward it? Do they have goals? Do they have goals, period? And then another one is debt. Do they go into a whole bunch of debt for everything? Because if so, that's probably not going to work out on one income. I think that's the biggest reason most people have to work with both spouses working, is because both of them have gone into a lot of debt beforehand, whether it's school debt or vehicles or all the other credit card debt. And there's so much interest in the first place that both couples have to work. So
Yeah, that's good. The last one that's kind of a continuation is not looking for the high life, just how to discern whether or not he's committed to providing. Well, I feel like you kind of just answered that.
I think so. Yeah, I think go back to those 3 topics. Look at their work history, look at their career goals, and look at their view on money and debt.
Yes. Perfect. Well, we got through all of your guys' questions. So thank you so much for sending them in. And I hope that this gave you some answers.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, yes. Thank you for joining. And maybe if you guys enjoyed this, we'll do another one sometime. Just let us know what topics you want us to cover, and we'll see if we can. Okay.
See if you can afford me next time.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Refuses to drift or delay or to pass the buck. That's one of my favorite quotes. Actually, it's not one of my favorite quotes.
They don't know. That's a good quote. Okay. This is so funny. As of last night.
Last thing I want to say about woman looking for a hot young man. Last thing I want to say about woman looking for a hot young man. Last thing I want to for us, I think for us.
This interview is rapidly spiraling.